The phone rang at 2:17 a.m. Not a text, not a notification, a call. And not the kind you ignore and promise to return in the morning, because something about it felt deliberate, like it knew she would answer, like it had been waiting. Her name was Emily Carter, 24 years old, observant, quiet in a way that made people trust her instantly, the kind of person who noticed things others didn't, like when someone stood too close in line, or when a room felt off, even when nothing looked wrong. She lived alone in a small apartment complex just outside Columbus, Ohio. Not too busy, not too isolated, just enough distance from everything. Her neighbors described her as predictable. Not in a bad way. In a safe way. The kind of routine you don't question. Wake up at 7 o'clock. Coffee before anything else. Work from home. Laptop always open on the same spot at the kitchen table. Evening walks, same route, same time, every day. Emily liked control. Patterns made sense. And when things made sense, they didn't feel dangerous. She didn't have a large circle, but the people in her life mattered. She called her younger sister almost every night, texted her best friend random thoughts throughout the day. And every Sunday, without fail, she called her mom. And if she missed a call, she always called back. Always. That's why the call at 2:17 a.m. mattered. Because it didn't fit. At all. Earlier that night, everything had been normal. Unremarkably normal. Emily had ordered takeout, Thai food from a place she always used. The delivery driver later said she looked fine, relaxed, even smiled when she said thank you. At 9:38 p.m., she sent a voice message to her sister. You ever have those days where you're tired for no reason? Yeah, that's me today. I'm going to bed early. There was a soft laugh at the end. Nothing forced. Nothing strange. By 10:20 p.m., the lights in her apartment were off. Curtains closed. Phone charging beside her bed. Exactly how she always left it. And then nothing. Silence. For hours. Until 2:17 a.m. The call came from a private number. No name. No location. Just unknown caller. It rang once. Stopped. Then rang again. Longer this time. More persistent. Most people would have ignored it. Turned over. Gone back to sleep. But Emily didn't. Because this wasn't the first time. 3 nights earlier, she had mentioned something to her sister. Casually. Like it didn't matter. Like she didn't want it to matter. I keep getting these weird calls, she said. They don't say anything, they just breathe. Her sister laughed it off. Told her it was probably spam. Or some glitch. T-Mobile's always weird like that. Emily didn't laugh. Not really. Because something about those calls felt intentional. They only came late at night. Never during the day. Always quiet. Always present. And every time she spoke, they stopped. At 2:17 a.m., when the phone rang again, she answered. Hello. Silence. Not empty silence. There was something there. A faint sound, like fabric shifting, or someone adjusting their grip on the phone. Then breathing. Slow. Measured. Close. Emily sat up in bed, the darkness around her suddenly heavier. Hello? Who is this? Nothing. But the breathing stayed. Steady. Closer now. She pulled the phone away, looked at it, then slowly brought it back to her ear. And that's when she heard it. A voice. So quiet it almost blended into the silence. Distorted. Like it wasn't coming directly through the phone. Open the door. At 2:19 a.m., the call ended. That was the last completed call on Emily's phone. The next morning, nothing felt wrong. Because no one knew yet. Her sister texted her at 8:12 a.m. No response. Not unusual. Emily sometimes slept late. By noon, still nothing. Calls went straight to voicemail. By 3 p.m., concern started creeping in. Slow. Uncomfortable. By 5:45 p.m., her sister was standing outside Emily's apartment door. Knocking. Then pounding. No answer. The door was unlocked. Inside, everything looked untouched. Not messy. Not disturbed. Just incomplete. The bed was unmade. Covers slightly pulled back. like someone had gotten up suddenly and never came back. Her purse was on the chair. Wallet inside. Keys missing. Phone gone. A glass of water sat on the nightstand. Half full. Still. Nothing suggested a struggle. Nothing screamed danger. But something felt deeply wrong. Because Emily didn't just leave. She didn't break her routine. And yet she was gone. Police arrived that evening. A missing person case opened almost immediately. At first, they considered everything. Voluntary disappearance, mental health, abduction. But nothing lined up cleanly. Because of one detail. The door. There were no signs of forced entry. No broken lock. No damage. Which meant one thing. She opened it. At 2:17 a.m. After receiving a call, telling her to do exactly that. Security cameras in the building were reviewed. Hallways. Entrances. Parking lot. At 2:21 a.m., Emily appeared on camera. Barefoot. Wearing an oversized t-shirt. Hair loose. Phone in her hand. She walked down the hallway slowly. Not rushing. Not panicking. But not normal either. Her movements were too smooth. Too controlled. Like she was following something. At one point she paused. Turned her head slightly. As if listening. But no one was there. No shadow. No second figure. Nothing. Then she kept walking. Out of frame. And out of sight. That was the last time Emily Carter was ever seen. Search teams were sent out. Neighbors questioned. Phone records pulled. Her phone's last signal came from less than a mile away. Near a quiet service road on the edge of town. A place she had no reason to be. When police searched the area, they found her phone. Cracked. Face down. Still powered on. No blood. No signs of struggle. Just there. But the most disturbing detail wasn't where it was found. It was what was inside it. At 2:17 a.m., the unknown number called her. The call lasted 2 minutes and 11 seconds. Then, at 2:20 a.m., her phone dialed that number back. But Emily didn't speak, because the audio they recovered captured something else. Footsteps, gravel, wind, and breathing. Closer now, right next to the microphone. Then, a whisper. Not Emily. You came. The case changed instantly. This wasn't random. This wasn't voluntary. Someone had called her, spoken to her, brought her outside. But how? And why her? As investigators dug deeper, small details began to surface. Emily had been acting differently. Subtly. Locking her door twice. Checking her windows every night. Pausing before turning off the lights. Her sister remembered something she said, just once. I feel like someone knows when I'm alone. But she never reported anything. Never told the police. Because she couldn't explain it. And without proof. It just sounded like fear. Then came the first real break. A neighbor. An older man across the hall. He told police he heard something that night. Around 2:15 a.m. A phone ringing through the wall. Loud enough to wake him. Then footsteps in the hallway. Soft. Bare. And then, another set of footsteps. But when police reviewed the footage again, there was still only one person visible. Emily. Walking alone. And yet, someone had spoken. Someone had been there. The number that called her didn't exist. No carrier. No record. No trace. Like it was never real. Weeks passed. Then months. No leads. No answers. Until one night, 2:17 a.m., her sister's phone rang. Private number. And everything started again. To this day, Emily Carter has never been found. No body. No confirmed sightings. No explanation. Only a phone call. In the middle of the night. And a voice that knew exactly what to say. Because if she was told to open the door, and she did, who was waiting? And more importantly, why did she listen? And now, there's only one question left. When your phone rings at 2:17 a.m., would you answer? The call wasn't a coincidence. It couldn't be. because it came at the exact same time, from the exact same kind of number, carrying the exact same silence that had taken Emily. And this time it wasn't her. It was her sister. Her name was Lily Carter.
22.
More outspoken than Emily. More grounded. The kind of person who didn't scare easily, or at least didn't show it. She was the one who told Emily the calls were nothing.
Spam.
Glitches. Something to ignore. But after that night, after hearing that voice whisper, "Don't open the door," something shifted. Because it wasn't just what the voice said. It was how it sounded. It sounded like Emily. At first, Lily tried to convince herself she imagined it. Grief can distort things. It can twist memory, make you hear what you want to hear, or what you're afraid of hearing. But this wasn't grief, because the call log was real. Timestamped. 2:17 a.m. Private number. And she wasn't alone when it happened. Her phone had been on speaker. A habit from late-night conversations with Emily. The room was quiet.
Still.
And her roommate heard it too. She didn't react right away. Just froze. Listening. Then slowly, carefully, "Was that Emily?" Lily didn't answer. Because she didn't know how to. Or maybe she did, and didn't want to say it out loud. The next morning, she went straight to the police. Phone in hand. Voice steady but tight. She told them everything. The call. The voice. The warning. They listened. Took notes. Stayed neutral. But when they checked her phone, the call was there. Same pattern. Same timestamp. Same lack of trace. And when they tried to recover the audio, there was nothing. No breathing. No voice. No whisper. Just static. It didn't make sense. Because she heard it. They both did. So where did it go? The case reopened. Quietly.
Carefully.
Detectives went back, through everything. Every second. Every detail. And that's when they noticed something they had missed. The timing. Emily's last appearance on camera, 2:21 a.m. The call that told her to open the door ended at 2:19 a.m., which meant, in less than 2 minutes, she woke up, processed it, got out of bed, walked to the door, and opened it. No hesitation, like she already knew what she was going to do. But that wasn't the unsettling part. The unsettling part was what happened in between, because there were no cameras inside the apartment. No footage. No proof. Just a gap. And whatever happened in that gap changed everything. Detectives went back to the audio file recovered from Emily's phone. The outgoing call at 2:20 a.m. The one where she didn't speak. They had listened to it before.
Cataloged it. Moved on.
But this time, they listened differently. Closer. Slower. At first it was the same. Footsteps.
Gravel.
Wind. Breathing. Then the whisper. "You came." But underneath that, buried beneath the noise, there was something else. Another voice. Not clear. Not direct.
But there. Faint.
Repeating. They isolated it. Enhanced it. Pulled it forward. And slowly, it became recognizable. "Open the door." The same phrase, but not spoken live. It sounded reused, like it had been recorded and played back. That changed everything, because it meant the voice Emily heard might not have been real in that moment. It might have been hers. That idea brought investigators back to the apartment. Again. But this time, they weren't looking for signs of a struggle. They were looking for something hidden. And they found it. Behind the wall paneling near her bed, a small device. Black. Unmarked. Easy to miss. A listening device. It hadn't been placed recently. There was dust around it.
Where?
Which meant
it had been there for a while.
Long enough to record her. Her routines. Her voice. Suddenly, the calls made sense. Someone had been listening.
Learning.
Studying her. Collecting her voice. But how did they get in? There were no signs of forced entry. No broken locks. No damage. Which meant they didn't need to break in. They already had access. Investigators shifted focus. Not strangers. Not random suspects. People connected to the building. Maintenance, management, contractors. Anyone who could enter quietly, without suspicion. One name came up. A technician. He had been inside Emily's apartment weeks before, fixing a minor electrical issue. Less than an hour. Alone. They brought him in. At first, he seemed calm, cooperative, normal. But when they mentioned the device, he hesitated, just slightly, then said something that no one had mentioned yet. I didn't think she'd answer. The room went silent, because no one had said anything about a call. He tried to correct himself, backtrack, explain, but it was too late. They searched everything. His apartment, his equipment, his storage drives. And they found it. Dozens of recordings, voices, conversations, private moments, all collected, including Emily's. Voice notes, phone calls, background audio, every sound from inside her apartment. But one file stood out. Timestamp, 2:16 a.m., the night she disappeared. They played it, and for the first time, they heard the call, from his side. A dial tone, a connection, then silence. And then, his voice. Open the door. But then, something else. Another voice. Emily's. Saying the same words, at the same time, perfectly synced. Not repeating him, not responding. Already saying it. Like it had been taken from somewhere else, and inserted. That's when they understood. He hadn't just been listening to her. He had been reconstructing her voice. Using fragments, patterns, tone, until he could make it sound exactly like her. The calls weren't random. They were conditioning. Familiarizing her with the sound, the silence, the breathing. So when the command finally came, she wouldn't question it. She would trust it. She would follow it. But even then, something still didn't make sense. The hallway footage. Because no matter how many times they reviewed it, Emily was still alone. And yet, the neighbor heard two sets of footsteps. The audio captured two presences. And that final whisper, "You came." That voice was not his, which meant he wasn't alone. The investigation expanded, and what they found was worse. The recordings weren't isolated. There were others. Other women. Other apartments. And in some of those recordings, there was a pattern. A whisper. "You came." Over and over again. Across different files. Different nights. Like something else was there. Watching. Waiting. The technician was arrested. Interrogated. Pressed for answers. But he denied it. That part, he insisted, wasn't him. And maybe, for once, he was telling the truth. Because even after his arrest, the calls didn't stop. 3 nights later, 2:17 a.m., another private number, another call. Different woman, different building, same silence, same breathing. And then, open the door. She didn't. Instead, she called 911, stayed inside, didn't move. And then, something happened. A sound. Not on the phone, but outside her apartment. Knocking. Slow. Soft. Right at her door. Police arrived within minutes. But the hallway was empty. No one on camera. No movement. Nothing. But her phone recorded something. A whisper. Faint. Barely there. Not from the hallway. From inside her apartment. "You didn't come." And just like that, the pattern changed. Because now, it wasn't just about Emily. It was happening again. Phones were still ringing. Voices were still learning. And somewhere, someone, or something, was still waiting. So now the question isn't just, what happened to her? It's this: if something can learn your voice, become your voice, and call you from inside your own home, how would you know it isn't already there? If this story gave you chills, make sure you subscribe to Untold Stories by Selene, because some stories don't end, they just wait to be told. And if your phone ever rings at 2:17 a.m., let it ring.